Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm going to call the City Council meeting to order, and it's so nice to see you, and I know you're visiting and having a great time, and it's nice to see the full council chambers. So thank you for coming. We appreciate that. I'll call this meeting to order. We do have one person for the open forum, Mr. Robert Hall. It's good to see you. Bob, please come up. State your name and address.
Is this on? It is. Robert Hall, 7309 Oliver Avenue South, Richfield. Members of the council, like perhaps every other Richfield homeowner, I received an envelope bearing the City of Richfield logo and containing a letter from, quote, your city council, end quote, regarding the sewer line warranty from an independent company. About a month ago, I received an identical mailing, if memory serves me, and received essentially the same information in two other mailings a few months before that. One question popped into my mind after the first two letters. Do we have a problem? I called and asked, and the city water department person told me flat out, no. After the second two mailings, I asked these additional questions. Who approved the use of the Richfield logo on the mailing pieces? Was the city compensated for its use? Is any city employee, volunteer, or elected official associated with the company? Did the city council members really endorse the program and use the logo and the use of the logo? Did they investigate the company first? Did the council members each buy the insurance themselves, or did they receive free coverage or other compensation, a bribe, for endorsement? Could the city be liable for claims against the company or the program, or for damage done by boulevard trees? Since the simple math tells us that if we have 10,000 homes who pay $88 a year, couldn't we have an $880,000 slush fund, pardon the pun, to solve the problem we apparently don't have? Can other private companies also use the Richfield logo to induce us to read their mail? Could I get some answers, please? Simply stated, I believe the decision to participate in this kind of deception is unethical and inappropriate. It should never have been tolerated, and quite frankly, it makes about as much sense as building a band shell at the end of the airport runways. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. At this time, I'd ask everyone to please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. We got it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks.
At this time, I'd ask the City Council to approve the minutes of the special City Council work session of June 14th, 2016, and the regular City Council meeting of June 14th,
So moved.
2016.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We have some great presentations tonight. I'm really excited, and that's why we have such a full house. The first is a presentation of the 2015 Food Safety Awards. So this is kind of exciting.
Hi, I'm Erin Ricken, and I am the chair of the Advisory Board of Health for Richfield. And for the last 10 years, we've did food safety awards with our large full-scale restaurants that we have here in Richfield and also our fast food carry-out restaurants. We work with the health inspector that we contract out through Bloomington Public Health, and they give us a recommendation around 3 to 4 different candidates. And from there, as a group, we look at the interviews that were given, along with the inspection results that were given, and we come up with a winner, and we present a plaque once a year. And so I would like to present Ida Mediterranean Cuisine on 66th Street with the winner for the fast food, or for the large-scale restaurant. Thank you. And this year, we also have another new winner, which is Potbelly, for the fast food and carryout. If you could please come up, Anna.
Thank you for all you do for the community. Thank you, not a problem. These are great. Appreciate you.
Every year, we've done this, well, I guess for the last 10 years, and we try to get the word out when restaurants do something good versus only hearing when restaurants do something bad. And so it's nice that you guys allow us to come here and take up the time and give them the kudos they deserve. Thank you.
Councilmember?
I have the next item. I'm very excited that we're going to be awarding tonight the Jean and Mary Jacobson Citizen of the Year Award for 2016. And I'll come down in a moment, but I think I'm going to turn it over to our Human Rights Commission Chair, Mark Westergaard, who can announce and talk a little bit about this year's winner.
Hi, again, Mark Westergaard. I'm the chair of the Human Rights Commission. The Jean and Mary Jacobson Award is our city's award for outstanding citizen. Our Human Rights Commission gives the award to recognize outstanding community service, a commitment to human rights, efforts to improve our community and make a better place for all. And before I go into anything further on the award itself, I want to bring up Kim Jacobson, who is the son of Jean and Mary Jacobson, who the award is named after. So if you could say a few words about your parents' legacy and that sort of thing.
My mom and dad can't be here tonight, but I know that when they are sitting watching, excuse me, Madam Mayor and council members, thank you for having me. When I think of them sitting on the edge of a cloud, watching over this presentation, my mother and father were dedicated not only to the community, along with other council members and mayors, of setting a template in motion for the way the city is today, I think. And their view of human rights and of equality of women and people of color and minorities in the workplace and beyond was exceptional. And so as I learned about Pastor Andy's involvement with his church and the message that he's trying to create for harmony, my parents would be delighted to know that you're getting this award tonight. Mark?
As Kim mentioned, our award winner is the lead pastor of Urban Refuge Church, Andy Gray. Andy has been working tirelessly on the Harmony Matters campaign. He has not only been successful in diversifying the congregation at Urban Refuge, but also has forged partnerships with other congregations across the South Minneapolis and Richfield area. Andy has led or participated in many special events throughout the community, advocating for racial equity, social justice, and making our community a better place for all. To name only a few are the annual Mission to the City, his partnership with and volunteering at the Southside Boys and Girls Club, Unity in the Community, Sankofa celebrations, A Walk to Justice, and the Journey to Harmony trip to Chicago. This year, Andy has also inaugurated the Harmony Matters Catalyst Fund at the Urban Refuge, which aims to fund the salary of new pastor Terrence Rollerson. Together, Andy and Terrence are continuing the work of promoting diversity, equity, and harmony with both the church and the greater community. Many of Andy's efforts focus on young people, which help to ensure a stronger community for future generations and the legacy of race, harmony, and human rights. It's my great pleasure to present the 2016 Jean and Mary Jacobson Award for Outstanding Citizen in Richfield to Andy Gray.
And we'll hear from the man of the year in a moment, but I have an award to present on behalf of the city of Richfield. I present the Jean and Mary Jacobson Outstanding Citizen of the Year Award for demonstrating an awareness of and commitment to the attitudes and practices that foster human understanding, tolerance, and the spirit of human relations. Ladies and gentlemen, Andy Gray.
Wow. Well, bless your hearts. Thank you. Madam Mayor, Council, men and women, thank you for this honor, and the Human Rights Commission, and to the legacy of your parents. This happens all the time, sorry. I think of the pledge we took with liberty, justice for all. And I love our city, I love our country, and it's a heartbreaking reality that among the many blessings that we've had of being a part of this nation, and the realities that those tables have not always been equal for all people. And we've had we call it a journey toward harmony, something that we haven't achieved, but that we are working for under the goodness and grace and kindness of God, to really genuinely love one another, to learn from one another, to care about each other deeply, and to be able to move through places of just, as I was speaking earlier, to move from just being in proximity to one another to realizing and dealing with the chaos that tensions come about when you can't ignore the differences that are there, and trusting one another and working through those processes. It's been a wonderful blessing, sometimes a long and arduous journey, but a beautiful one. And we love the word harmony because it maintains the distinctions, but in a wonderful chorus together. And I've told our beautiful congregation, and have no hesitation to say to you that though this is in my hands tonight, it's really these folks that deserve the award. And I'm very appreciative, very humbled, and honored to be their pastor and friend, and encouraged by their courageous efforts and love for one another, and love for our city. So thank you very much for this honor. It's a tremendous blessing. God bless you.
Edwina, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. You know, as Pastor Andy was talking earlier at his little party of celebration that we had in the Bartholomew Room, he got choked up more than once, and this is his congregation, and you see moms and dads, and you see a lot of kids, and we rarely have that at council chambers. And when you talked, I kind of felt right away all these terrible, horrible pictures came into my mind of what happened in Orlando, of all these senseless acts that have been occurring in our country. And your words really honed in on just all kinds of, hey, let's remember who we are. We're human beings. You know, we have the spirit of goodwill in our hearts. And we follow the Lord, and you have done a tremendous job, and the Human Rights Commission really, they do a wonderful job in putting together such a celebration. They always select the right person, a person that's a champion, for human rights, and you're right, all these folks that you minister to, they're champions too, and thank you for sharing your award with them, and thank you for spreading the fact that we do have good news around us too.
Yeah. It's nice after we just heard of the tragedy just now in Istanbul, this afternoon, that we come to the chamber and it's filled with love and cheers and gratitude, and that is enough to warm anybody's heart in these hard times. So,
And I'm very grateful that I'm the liaison to our Richfield Human Rights Commission, and in my short time on the council, I think this is becoming maybe my favorite day of the year when we can award our Citizen of the Year award and celebrate our community and somebody who's is making change in our community. And I want to thank you for your work on these issues, especially as they relate to racial equity in our community, something that I think in our community and state and nation we're talking about more, and that's a good thing. But you've been doing this work, this hard work, for a long time, and to raise that up and for us to keep working at it together is wonderful, and I'm just so thankful for your leadership and your work, and I think we all look forward to keeping that work going.
Councilman?
Thank you, and I'm thankful that you're in Richfield. 'Cause
Here, here.
You're making us look good, so thank you.
The city's a better place because you're here. Councilmember, I'll let you move on with the agenda.
And I have the next item on the agenda, and we'll keep rolling with the fine work of our Human Rights Commission. I'm going to reintroduce Mark Westergaard for our annual meeting with the Human Rights Commission to hear about all that good work.
Yeah, I'm here to present our annual report and just talk about some of the things. I'm not going to read through our annual report. It has been presented to the City Council. It will be out on the city webpage. But I am going to talk about some of the highlights that we've some activities and highlights that we've taken since the last time I was here a year ago. First, let me state our purpose. The purpose of the Human Rights Commission is to secure for all citizens equal opportunity in employment, housing, public accommodations, public services, and education, and full participation in the affairs of the community, and to take appropriate action consistent with the Minnesota Human Rights Act. The Commission shall also advise the City Council on long-range programs to improve the human relations in the city. So that's what we're all about, and now I'm going to talk about some of the things that we're doing to support that. First, I'll talk about the ongoing efforts that we are doing called All the People. Also, we call it Community Conversations about Diversity on City Councils. So this has been a project that's been going on since 2014, full-fledged in 15, now in 16, and I'm sure it's going to go on in 17 and 18. And the purpose of this activity is we took a look at our councils and commissions within the city, and we said, how diverse are they, and do they make up some proportion, are they reflective of the demographic and the racial makeup and the diversity makeup within the city? And there's varying degrees depending on the commission of closer to, but we're not quite there. And so what we're trying to do is we're working with the other commissions. We're also working with many people on the city staff to try and do a better job of reaching out to communities of color, to women, to younger people, because we have a certain age group that tends to be on our commission, and we want younger people as well, but just a much broader spectrum of people that reflects the way Richfield is made up. So we have some activities going on right now. We're working with city staff to implement process improvements for all commission applications. We've expanded our social media reach of the commission and recruiting efforts, and we are working to collaborate and streamline efforts among all commissions for citywide recruitment events. Those events one is ending right now, and so we're going to have some applications coming in for all commissions in July and August, and then also at the end of the year. So we're going to take another snapshot of what our commissions are like in September, October, and then we're going to see what else we need to do to further diversify our commission. And my request is to anybody in the city, if you want to be part of city government, take a look at the commissions. They are really good to get involved with the city. And really good people, too, just really involved, and they want to help. They want you there. I want you there. Just sign up. Next thing I want to do is I did send this to the city council beforehand. Sorry, this is an eye chart and you can't see it. I wish I could project it up there. But did you have maybe a
Can
way
we
to?
do that? Yeah.
You can
Does it work there?
At times.
Okay. Presto.
There
You
it
still
is.
can't really see it that well.
It's tiny.
No. I'll just speak to it. So what we have is this is our annual work plan and just schedule of things that we're doing. So on the one side is the month. The next is education and community outreach. Those are the two things when we hold an event, we want to like target. It might be that something we do covers education, community outreach, and other things. But those are the two things our commission decided we want to do when we hold an event in the city. And then the last column is just certain notes and planning about Human Rights Commission meetings. So I want to highlight a few things that are on our annual report and are now making this. This is really a one-page pictorial shot of the annual report in many ways. But on the 16th of February, this past February, right in this very room, we held a naturalization event for new citizens to the United States. And I want to thank the mayor for giving some fabulous welcoming comments. Councilman Howard was here, and several human rights commissioners were here as well. And we worked with the 4th District Federal Court, and they brought in Judge Donovan Frank, and we swore in 38 new citizens to the United States. They came from 18 different countries, and it was just a super powerful event. Really successful. The district court said it went great, and it went so great that we are now going to do the same event, but on a bigger scale at Richfield High School, also the day after President's Day in 2017. And I just spoke to Judge Frank, and he's all on board, and he says, I'm ready to come back. So, and he is quite a character. He gave a great talk.
Yes, he did.
The one quote that, I think I'm going to say this verbatim, but the one quote he said right after swearing in people, and then he gave some really nice comments afterwards, because people were like, am I a citizen now? I'm not sure. And he goes, yeah, you're a citizen now. And he said, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but he said, we are better now than we were 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
As a country.
Yeah.
So the other activity that we did that's new and different and was really exciting was just this last month at the Richfield United Methodist Church. We partnered with them to hold an event called Islam 101. And what we did is we brought in the Islamic Resource Group, and they had 2 speakers and a really great PowerPoint presentation. And it was really well paced, and we had a nice crowd at the church to talk about what is Islam, what isn't Islam, and how does it intersect with Christianity, how doesn't it? But it was just a really great conversation to have in this day and age, in this world, in this country and whatnot. It was just a really positive exchange that people had talking about it. Again, it was so successful that the Islamic Resource Group said, we'd like to do it again in Richfield, and all we're doing is we're looking for another church to help us host it. Couple other items I'm going to touch on briefly that we did. We instituted a guest speaker series at our Human Rights Commission meetings. So once a month we have a meeting. It's usually the first Tuesday of the month, but not always like 4th. We're going to reschedule it. When it gets around Labor Day, we reschedule it. But we try to bring in a guest speaker who's doing something really positive and great in the human rights space, hopefully in Richfield, but if not, in maybe the metro area or the state. But somebody we can learn from, and they might be able to learn from us. So we can build out our network, and maybe we can partner together and do some events together. I'm just going to touch on a few of the people that came by, groups that came by to speak to us. Fraser School, the Center for Victims of Torture, the Islamic Resource Group, the Advocates for Human Rights. Councilman Tom Fitzhenry came by to speak about the Yellow Ribbon Project. Esla Gomez, the Community Liaison for Richfield Police Department, came by, and we're going to partner with them, I think, on a tenants' rights event in the future. And also John Woods, the Program Director for New Perspectives Behavioral Health Systems, doing great work in the city of Richfield. And with that, I don't have to read anything else, but I just want to say thank you so much for the time, and thanks for the support. And if you have any questions, by all means.
May I just say that, over the years that I've been mayor, I have seen this commission, first of all, when I first came on, lacking commissioners, and I went out and recruited for this particular because I thought it was so important to our community to have a viable Human Rights Commission. And some of the things and some of the work that you have done in the past has been amazing, between the partnership agreements to make everything you do makes people feel more welcome. And you've actually engaged the community more and more and more. And you've been listening to those who really needed our help. And you brought a lot of things to the council, so we've become more educated. I just think we have, some communities disbanded their human rights commissions. I can't believe that. Ours is vibrant, beautiful, and enriching our community. So thank you for the hard work that you do. I appreciate it.
Thanks, it's a great group.
Mark, before you go, I want to say some nice things about you. I just want to, I'm proud of our Richfield Human Rights Commission, and of your leadership and of everyone on the Human Rights Commission. If anyone ever wants to come attend a meeting, I'd recommend it because it's a group of people. The attendance is always great. The conversation is never lacking. It's a group of people very earnestly interested in making sure that Richfield is a community that's accepting and welcome to everyone. And all the work you've done and the work that I know you'll continue to work on is making Richfield a better place. And so I'm just grateful to be the liaison on the commission, and I look forward to all the work that remains. So
Thanks,
thank you.
Councilman. I'm going to add on to that, just one little thing too, is please join the Richfield Human Rights Commission Facebook page. This updated schedule of events is going to be out there. We continue to update it. We take the old one down when things are going away, and we add new things. And to Councilman Howard's point is that we have really good meetings. They're public. Come on and join. And you can also just see some of the really great guest speakers we have.
Mark, I know Debbie's here, but do you have other commissioners? Can you introduce your commissioners?
Debbie? And Sarah here? Can't go to T-ball. But I guess that's it.
Well, Debbie's always around at any function that the Human Rights Commission has. Debbie's there, and she's always, available. She's very helpful. I think I don't know. I think she's your right arm.
Yeah.
Totally.
She's so good.
Yeah, you pegged that right. But it's really it's a group of people with their heart in the right place.
Good.
Well, Jeff Wright is a good guy too, and he's your treasurer, right?
He is.
Good.
That's good. Thanks. Thank you. Great report. Next, we have the report from the staff who attended the 2016 Transforming Local Government League of Minnesota Cities Conference. I don't usually have staff up here, but our staff did a lot of work in making this conference first happen. We had a large presence at this, and there were a lot of really great shows and workshops, and we learned a lot, didn't we, from going to that. I was a presenter at one and then attended several, so I'm excited because we saw each other and we sat, but we didn't have a chance to find out what we were all learning. So please.
Well, Mayor, members of the council, thanks for inviting us to briefly speak about the Transforming Local Government and League of Minnesota Cities conference that we attended June 15th through 17th. So just very recently, the first slide that we have up actually we'll go back just a second, was our team. Our team, we had 10 staff members representing all of our departments that attended the conference. I think we probably had the biggest team from any city there, certainly after League of Minnesota City staff. And so I'm remiss, but Chris Link and Karen Barton were part of the team. And this is actually, they're all of our ambassadors for the city of Richfield. So, but as the mayor said, Mayor Guttel was also there at the conference, and City Manager Steve Devich made it. So we really had a really good presence at the conference, and the city of Richfield's name came up very frequently as far as impressed with our participation. People were very curious about the structure of our innovation teams here in Richfield, and so they were always asking questions about that and the things that we've done that are innovative here in the city of Richfield. And we've been a partner member with the Alliance for Innovation since 2014, and as a partner member, we get to send 4 staff to the annual conference each year, but because it was in St. Paul, we got to send 10. So fantastic. And I'm going to let these two jump in too, but every day was started, we had a keynote speaker all 3 days, and they were all very, very, a lot of the messages resonated with us. Stephen Shapiro is an author. His latest book is called Best Practices Are Stupid, but basically he offers different methods and insights about how to be innovative in your organization. And what really struck us was it's all about the questions you ask. And we also liked how he said, it's not about thinking outside the box, find a better box. So we actually talked about, we want to get several of his books and have a book club around a lot of the themes and ideas that he had, that he talked about. The other speaker, Kite, you were there, Mayor, for his performance. He's a violinist and also a speaker on innovation, and he performed throughout his presentation and then offered insights, and he really talked about that you have to be a beginner all over again. Don't get so comfortable that you just kind of keep going in your own way. And I don't know if either of you two wanted to say anything about either of the speakers.
Just echo the comments that they were both terrific.
Yeah.
Really had good insight and eye-opening.
Go ahead.
We did receive an award at the conference. We got a Green Step City Award. We achieved Step 2. Excuse me. Green Step City is, just for a quick introduction to what it is. It's a program put on by Minnesota PCA, Pollution Control Agency, that recognizes and helps cities kind of achieve sustainability goals for their cities. City Richfield received a Step 2 award, and it was for a lot of things that we already do. We documented all of these things. They're best practices that aren't stupid, that we do and have done in the past. There's 5 categories that they have best practices listed under, and they're, so I'm going to try to remember them. Land use, economic or environmental management, economic community development, buildings and lighting, and is that 5? And there might be one more, I can't remember. But those are the categories. An example of a best practice that that we already do was just even in public works with street sweepings in the fall. We collect leaves from street sweepings to reduce phosphorus that enters the ponds. Then we haul those to Fort Snelling Cemetery. So just documenting that practice alone helped us get this award. All right, I'll jump in again. Another takeaway from the conference was a tweet along, and this more along goes with what other cities do. They go out and when they're providing a service and tweet that process. It's not something we're looking at doing, but it kind of reinforces that fact. Just in public works, we provide a lot of services. Citywide, we provide a lot of services people don't know about, and getting that word out and how we do it. Public works, we're really good at putting our heads down and trying not to disrupt anybody's lives, but we should be showing people what we do and how we do it. So.
Just really briefly, so there were several educational sessions throughout the conference. They were excellent. I think what's so fantastic, especially about the TLG conference, is those sessions when the planning committee is selecting who gets to present, it has to be an engaging type of session. It has to be dynamic. It's not just somebody lecturing you. So we just, on this, and I forgot to mention that our media coordinator, Lucas Johnson, set us up again so that the time that we spent at the conference, we were posting on Google+. So like our staff back here at City Hall could follow us, and we were sharing photos and messages and highlights and takeaways with the rest of the staff back here. So hopefully engaging them and sharing our enthusiasm with them. So these are, on this slide, there's just several posts that we pushed out throughout the week, things that really resonated with us. Both Karen and I went to listen to Peter Kageyama, who is an author of a book called For the Love of Cities. He is amazing. He's got just great ideas, or shares great ideas about what cities are doing. One thing he said is rethink the small things that you do as a city, because he talked about multi-generational cities and how you build a lovable city. And so that photo of the public restroom was as basic as, he said, just, having very convenient public restrooms can make you a more comfortable city. So when people are out in your community, things like that are not something that's, becomes an issue for people. And he also talked about just that empty nesters, seniors, millennials, people of all generations really want the same things from a community, whether it's walkability, transit, a vibrant downtown. And he really emphasized that we should pay attention to where multi-generations are engaging and really focus on that. So we came away, I think all of us, with just really excellent ideas that we're going to be talking about yet this week as a group, and hopefully implement a couple of them. And Karen's going to talk about, there was a tour that she conducted through our city.
Yeah, the part of the conference, they offer various mobile tours, and they asked if I would give a tour of the city of Richfield as an example of a transformation of a first-ring suburb. And so I jumped at the chance. It's very exciting to be able to show off Richfield and all the things that we've been doing. So we had limited time, so we were only able to get to a couple sites in the city, unfortunately, but we did get to the Lake Glendale area and then the Cedar Corridor. And we really had a lot of positive feedback. The tour was well attended. People were very impressed with how we haven't stagnated over the years. We've continued to adapt and thrive, are continuing to grow. That was a lot of fun to do that.
I heard a lot of feedback from that too, that tour specifically. Yeah, that was wonderful. I did a presentation actually with the Green Step Cities, since we are Green Step Cities, and it's one of the things that I work on actually. And ours was they wanted to focus on Richfield and Richfield's idea that we could do more and be more energy efficient, and what we're looking at, what we're trying to do. I talked about some of the innovation that has come to study sessions around vertical indoor sourcing and solar and in our liquor stores, which we can't quite get to yet, but we're waiting for these kinds of things, and we're poised. And we're not sitting still just doing that. We keep checking back to see when we're going to make the next leap. We want to be in the forefront of some of these great things. So I talked about that, and about the regenerative and the circular economies versus the growth economy, and how that's going to be a lot more sustainable in the future versus the growth economy. So we had conversations around that, and then I went to a great work session, a couple of them. I followed the whole work session through on relations with public safety. And there were people from Black Lives Matters there, and there was police chiefs there, and they talked about having some of the really hard conversations and how to actually take some action steps forward, and how they're going to move and transform some of the training so that, we make positive steps in the right direction and not sit around doing all the blame, but have these hard conversations. And that was extremely insightful, and I know that our police chief is sitting here, and I know he's working on that. I thank you for looking at other ways for us to do our work better. And when we just talked about the Mary Jane and Jacobson Award, for somebody who's trying to bring those kinds of communities together, our police force needs to be right along, and they are embracing this. So it matters that we go and we see some of these things and we participate. It really matters. And City Manager.
Yes, Madam Mayor, if I just might add, the Green Step Cities thing is something that we're all proud of. And I want to make sure that we recognize that Jim Topitzofer is the coordinator here at the city. And he's the one who really puts it all together, and he was there to receive that award. We have new committee that we formed that actually Chris Link is really running and put together, and that's kind of the Alternative Energies Committee. We're looking at all kinds of different alternative energy innovations here at the city, and I would say that from that discussion, we're very close to being step 3, getting our step 3, and I think I also think we're not very far away from getting our step 4, Green Step City Award. And they only do them once a year, but by the time they do it next year, we're going to be right there with all of our step 3, and the year after, I'm very sure Richfield will be poised to get the step 4. So we just keep moving along and you know, achieving another rung each year.
Yeah, it's great, wonderful. It sounds like you guys had as good a time as I did. Yeah, it was a fun conference. Yeah.
Well, thank you again for the opportunity for us to be present at that conference.
Well, I think it was really worthwhile for everybody to go and to have a large attendance there. So hopefully we'll be able to do some more of that. Thanks. Okay, we have hats off to Hometown Hits. I saw you writing a list over there, Edwina.
You're not going to believe this, but, you know, I left my list at home.
Oh, okay.
Please. But, you know, but I will say one thing, you know, with the presentation that the staff just made. One of the things we fail to recognize is that we really have a terrific, you know, staff. They're professionals. They know they're hired for a specific job. They do that job and they do it well, and they continue to learn while they're in that job. They don't, you know, they don't remain stagnant. You know, they're always learning. And that's really important. I think that's one of the things that the city manager encourages. When residents call me sometimes, you know, they're frustrated because they try to figure out, you know, what's going on, and I often tell them, you know, you can call me, or you've got 3 people that you can call on the city. You can call me, you can call our at-large member, and you can call our mayor. Those 3 folks, you can, you know, we respond to our own constituents, but, you know, really we'll respond to any constituent regardless of whether they're in our ward or not. And we will find some answers for you. And either a staff member will call you personally, or we will get the information and call you back. But, you know, it is important that you know that you can reach out and call. And certainly I think Mr. Devich also is very good about personally calling a number of folks back. The other thing I wanted to mention was last night I was here, and so was Councilmember Fitzhenry. We were here for the Planning Commission. And we sat in the audience, and one of the things I noticed, and I keep saying this to people, staff members, all the time, that it really is important to have the microphone there. Please adjust your microphone and speak into your microphone. If you have your microphone way over here and you talk really low, you're not going to hear anything. It's respectful to have your microphone right in where your voice is coming from, and talk so that people can understand what you're saying instead of you know, it's so uncomfortable not to. And I noticed that. I thought you know, that the meeting was so well run. I know we have a new chair, and she just blew me away how good she was. And I was talking to Councilmember Fitzhenry, and he picked up on that. We have a lot to learn from, you know, attending some of the commission meetings ourselves, because these commissioners also are pretty darn good. And, you know, so I think this city is a terrific city. We have a council that gets along, works together well, but we do that because, you know, the staff works together with us. And we have a terrific residential population. I mean, they really love this city, and they appreciate it, and they're constantly you know, also saying a lot of good things to us, and we appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you. Councilmember Howard.
Was already mentioned today with our Richfield Human Rights Commission, but that we do have a couple days left for residents to apply for commissions. I think, Madam Mayor, you mentioned this at the last meeting, and we might as well put in one more plug with a couple days left. And then the only other thing I was going to mention is to wish people a happy 4th. And we've got great festivities planned across the city. I think a lot of people look forward to getting out about, and I'm hoping the weather's going to cooperate. I think it should. And so I just wish people a happy and safe 4th, and to thank all the volunteers and city staff who are going to help make this happen in our community over the next couple days.
Councilmember?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As you know, we're part of the Beyond Yellow Ribbon.
Yes.
It was interesting. We've been kind of stumbling, finding what to do, and what, other than we also do the Veterans Memorial on Veterans Day, and it made it worthwhile. Last week we got an emergency phone call from what they call the FAC. It's a Family Assistance Center at the well, I can't explain a whole lot of it because we've got to keep that confidential, but it's over there at the guard base area, and it was an emergency phone call. There was a person deployed whose wife was having trouble with her pregnancy. They are from Africa, or she is, and don't speak very good English, and didn't have anybody in town to do anything, so it was probably the reason we are Beyond the Yellow Ribbon. We were able to pick her up, get her to the doctor, then later get food for her family and that, and then the next day drive her to the hospital. That's how bad the pregnancy was. And while we're waiting for things to, trying to figure out what our next step was nice to see that the military was able to fly him home. And he met us at the hospital. And so it just made us feel good. We always wonder why we're here, and because we don't often get things to do in the Beyond the Yellow Ribbon, but that one event made it worthwhile. So I'm glad we have that. So
It really matters. And thank you for your leadership. You're the one who started that up. You're the one who keeps it going, too. We appreciate that a lot.
Thank you.
That's a worthwhile, another worthwhile avenue for our community. I just want to make a couple of remarks, because I also have been on the community page online about the sanitary sewer line insurance. And I'll just say this, this came out of the League of Minnesota Cities, so yes, it's vetted. And the League of Minnesota City vets things very carefully, and this is used, this particular company does market across the country. It does say option. It is an option there. But what we do know is, no, you don't have to have it, but I can tell you that there are yards over in my neighborhood that are torn up because somebody's sanitary sewer line was erupted by mostly tree roots, and it's thousands of dollars. And we're at an aging infrastructure, so if you don't have the money to outlay, and people check this online, anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 to repair that and to put the clean out in. And your clean out in your basement is not going to work for you, because it'll backflush into your basement, so they won't use those. And a lot of our houses have them. I have one, but they won't use them because they're too much of a chance that they'll actually contaminate your basement. So I just want people to know that this is an option. We wanted to give you an opportunity to save thousands of dollars if this erupts. And I see my public works director smiling back there. I have had to do this in a home that I owned in Austin, Minnesota, and it was painful. And no, we don't get a kickback. No, we don't get free insurance. But I am going to purchase it because my home's old enough and I don't want to have to pay thousands of dollars when that inevitable issue happens. And so it's up to you. It's really a personal choice to do that or not. But there's no scam. There's no big deal. They use our letterhead because it's through the League of Minnesota Cities. And in fact, we changed the language down quite a bit because we want to make sure that they know it's an option. The city is just passing this through as an option and an already vetted good insurance company.
Madam Mayor, if I could just add to that
Please.
very quickly, a couple quick things. Not only vetted by the League of Cities, but the National League of Cities.
Yeah.
And they also, we're partnering with them, but they hold us harmless.
Yes.
So we're held harmless. And so, Mr. Hall was concerned that we might have a liability, but we are protected in that agreement. And again, as you said, it's completely voluntary. Folks can decide for themselves if they want it or not.
I just know that when I saw the burden of the cost of that and I saw the availability of this, I was actually the one who brought it to the council.
Madam Mayor?
And I'll, go ahead.
I wanted to add, I think when we can provide options to our residents, I think that's a good thing, and they can make the choice. So I think it's a good step to provide. I would just say I did receive, I think all of us did, some questions, and it's on this letterhead, and it kind of looks maybe like something that someone would have taken our logo. So I think we should continue to offer this opportunity, but maybe look at it as a corresponding letter from the city come with it. There might be some options so that when residents get this in the mail, it's a little clearer to them what they're receiving. But I think it's like I said, when we can provide this kind of opportunity, some people might want to take advantage of it, and we should provide those opportunities to folks.
And we haven't done these kinds of things before. This is new and new to our residents, so it'll be a learning curve for all of us. Council member.
Okay, we had a problem at our home, and my husband he had to run an errand. So when the plumbers came, they went down the basement, and they said, well, we will have to, where do we, do the line, put the line in or whatever. And usually it's under the laundry tubs. So they said, well, we really have to remove the toilet and put it through that particular line, because we want to use a camera and look at, and look all the way to the street. So to remove the toilet, it cost $125. But to put the camera down, that was free. And so what happens is we wind up, that they said, well, you really need to fix this. It's really important. You're going to have a big problem if you don't. And you better do it now. We can do it for $4,000. So my husband got home and he found out that, well, they did remove the toilet, and he said, no, he said, you don't need that. He said, they should have gone through the laundry tubs. You would have saved $125. They're trying to, and not all companies are like this, but you can find out just by doing it, under the laundry tubs. I would suggest that you buy the insurance. We bought the insurance because we know that, our house was built in the 50s, early 50s. And we know that, it stands to reason. Almost anything, you really need to protect yourself and have insurance. You have insurance for practically everything else. That's a big item. And we don't want to have to pay that when we haven't budgeted for that. And it's a lot cheaper to buy that insurance, which we did. So when somebody comes and they want to do all this other stuff, make sure that you ask the questions and think about it before you let them do stuff and charge you $125 or whatever.
Yeah, and you know that your homeowner's insurance doesn't cover this.
No.
I don't know a policy that
It does not.
And there aren't a lot of insurance companies around that do this particular type of insurance, and that's why they do it, so. Any other comments?
Well, I can say I did have to pay to have mine done before this happened, and estimates were 10,000 on down, because mine was completely collapsed about it's an older pipe and that, and I thank Public Works because I called them and asked for advice, and they gave me a reputable Richfield plumbing agency, which I won't mention, but they're good, and they came down to $2,500 to replace the pipe all the way from the house to the street, with an added addition that people don't have in most homes. I have a camper dump station, so.
Oh, yeah, wow.
Which they helped me with, and we were able to have that, so.
Wonderful.
It's beneficial for me.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Just word to the wise there.
Yes.
You young homeowners.
Right.
I'll ask for the council approval of the agenda as it stands.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. City manager, you have the consent calendar.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. The consent calendar contains several separate items which are acted upon by the city council in one motion. And once the consent calendar has been approved, all the individual items and their recommended actions will also have been approved, and no further action on these items is necessary. Tonight we have several items on consent. Beginning with item A, which is consideration of the approval of a request for a temporary on-sale intoxicating liquor license for the activities scheduled to take place July 3rd, 4th, 2016 for the Minneapolis Richfield American Legion Post 435 at 6501 Portland Avenue South. Item B is consideration of the approval of an annual request for a community celebration event license with a fee waiver and a temporary on-sale intoxicating liquor license from the 4th of July Committee for the event scheduled to take place at Veterans Park, July 3rd and 4th, 2016. Item C is consideration of the approval of the sponsorship agreement between the City of Richfield and Best Buy Purchasing, LLC, for the financial sponsorship of the 2016 Urban Wildland Half Marathon in the amount of $2,250. Item D is consideration of the approval of a resolution amending Appendix D of the Richfield City Code to provide for a registration fee for beekeeping in the city. Item E is consideration of the approval and acceptance of a 5-year agreement with the Minnesota Department of Health, Lead Unit, to perform the initial environmental lead risk assessment for diagnosed cases of elevated blood lead levels in children under 6 years of age and pregnant women within the city of Richfield. Item F is consideration of the approval of a resolution supporting the submittal of a grant application to the Metropolitan Council for the Richfield Parkway Cedar Point South Development Project. Item G is consideration of approval of the implementation of the Bicycle Master Plan identified bike routes in the 2015 Millen Overlay Area as recommended by the Transportation Commission. Item H, consideration of the approval of the renewal of the agreement with Hennepin County for the purchase of assessment services for the period commencing August 1st, 2016 and ending July 31st, 2020. And then item I, finally, consideration of the approval of a resolution updating procedures for deferment of special assessments against owner-occupied homestead properties in hardship cases for qualifying homeowners. And that concludes tonight's consent calendar.
I'll move the calendar.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The calendar is approved. Councilmember Fitzhenry.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The item under consideration is a second reading of an ordinance allowing up to 2 licensed gambling organizations to conduct gambling at on-sale liquor or club establishments. The city has received requests from the American Legion Auxiliary to conduct raffles at the Minneapolis Richfield American Legion. A licensed gambling organization already conducts gambling at the American Legion, so the auxiliary would not be permitted under the current code to conduct the raffles. Adoption of the proposed ordinance would allow the auxiliary to obtain a premise permit and conduct the raffles at the American Legion. It would also allow greater flexibility for other on-sale or club establishments wishing to allow up to 2 licensed gambling organizations on their premises. The first reading of this ordinance amendment was heard at the City Council on June 14th. There was no discussion concerning the ordinance change, and it was approved. A little background on this, I know the American Legion representatives here. We were there doing a Beyond Yellow Ribbon meeting and on a bingo night, and I was invited to play bingo. And the ladies auxiliary commented, and what it was all about is they currently have pull tabs there. And other legions throughout the city do meat raffles. And, we didn't know that. They couldn't do both because of the ordinance we had saying you could do one or the other, but not both. And so it made sense to the council and the rest of us to look at it. And when we found out it was okay with the state, and we talked to other people, it made good sense to us. So we went ahead with it. So I'll go ahead and make the recommended action that we approve the second reading of an amendment to the lawful gambling ordinance allowing up to 2 licensed gambling organizations to conduct gambling at on-sale liquor or club establishments.
I'll second that. I want to thank you for working on that too. They came to me as well, and I'm
Yeah.
glad we got this done for them.
I think it was a good thing we did there.
I did too, yeah. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, staff, for working on that. Appreciate it. Councilmember Garcia?
Okay, and this also is the second reading of an ordinance repealing section 910 of the Richfield City Code pertaining to shade trees, pest control, shade tree pest control, and replacing it with a new section 910 and a resolution authorizing summary publication. The city code references Minnesota state statute, and periodically the legislature makes some changes, and we have to make sure that, you know, we comply with what the state statutes want us to do. So that's what this is about. So we're going to repeal section 910 and replace it with a new language, and so that that will be exactly what this particular what is it called, ordinance is going to do. In addition, with emerald ash found on private property in the city in March 2016, staff has included emerald ash borer as a public nuisance similar to oak wilt and Dutch elm disease, allowing the use of special assessments for tree removals if desired by the property owner. So I will move that we approve the second reading of an ordinance repealing section 910 of the Richfield City Code pertaining to shade trees, pest control, and replacing it with a new section 910.
I'll second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And then I will move to approve the resolution approving summary publication of an ordinance repealing section 910 of the Richfield City Code pertaining to shade tree pest control and replacing it with a new section 910.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Councilmember Garcia, you have the next item.
Oh, lucky me. Thank you. Okay, this item is consideration of a resolution regarding land use approvals to allow construction of shoreline improvements and quasi-public amenities along the east side of Richfield Lake. And this goes back to 2013. The Cornerstone Group received approval related to the redevelopment of the former Lindale Garden property. Those plans included a 151-unit apartment building, which would be approximately 10,000 square feet of retail and restaurant space and outdoor activity areas along Richfield Lake. Those plans also encompassed the land that is now home to Lakewood Food Cooperative and the vacant lot to the south of Lakewind's parking lot. Land use approvals typically expire after 1 year unless extensions are requested and granted by the council. Despite extensions, sufficient financing of the development of the northern half of the site was not secured, and all land use approvals related to the project expired in 2015. So this has kind of been an ongoing struggle to some degree. The Cornerstone Group, they're the applicants, continue to work towards redevelopment of the site that will be substantially similar to what was approved in 2013 in order to take advantage of grant funds that will expire in June of 2017. The applicant is requesting approval of just the shoreline improvements along eastern edge of the existing path around Richfield Lake and community garden space. The applicant has indicated that a proposal for the remainder of the site is anticipated in the near future. And we hope to see that fairly soon. Construction of shoreline improvements is anticipated to begin in October of this year, following necessary environmental work. The applicant indicates the construction will take approximately 4 to 6 months and the performance stage would be available for use by summer of 2017. The applicant has indicated that the performance area would likely be programmed for smaller rather than community-wide events. Smaller rather than larger community events. Due to the uncertainty of what will be happening on the site at that time, a stipulation requiring staff approval of a parking agreement with this, of a parking plan prior to the events has been included in the attached resolution. The developer is aware of and in agreement with this requirement in anticipation that after some time, a typical parking plan will be developed and accepted so that approval prior to every event is no longer necessary. And we did get a note from a constituent that, that was concerned also about the birds. And so we did, that has been noted, and someone probably got back to them regarding that, right? Mm-hmm. Good. I was going to ask you now, what, Ms. Barton, what if this happens, what, and then they don't follow through in terms of the development? What exactly, kind of explain what physically is going to happen to the lake?
Certainly. Mayor, Council Member Garcia. What they're intending to do with these land use approvals is go ahead with the shoreline improvements and the quasi-public amenities to the area. So those are the trail connections, trails, performance stage, the pizza oven, and the community gardens in the area. So those would get completed within the next year's time frame.
Okay. So, do you know exactly, and that money is the money that they got from the Met Council?
That's correct. The city received a grant of $1.5 million to make these improvements. Okay. And that money will go away in June of, I believe it's June of next year. So they need to get going on it right now or else lose that funding.
Okay. So what's going to happen first? Are the apartment units going to be built or first, or?
No.
Or both at the same time?
Nope. The shoreline improvements and amenities will be put in first, and then they'll be moving ahead with getting land use approvals for the apartments subsequently later this year, we're anticipating, and then those would begin construction hopefully next year.
Well, okay, so what exactly is going to happen with the shoreline? I mean, I'm not understanding what, is there anything that's physically going to be done to the shoreline?
Yes, they'll put in like a retaining wall along the shoreline, and then additionally these trails and the performance stage. Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. Do you want to make a motion?
Well, don't know if anyone else has got a. Okay, I'll move the approval of the resolution granting a final development plan and conditional use permit for a planned unit development along the eastern shoreline of Richfield Lake. Oh, that's it. Wait a minute.
Yep, that's it.
That's it.
I'll second. Discussion?
Sorry about that. Just one question so we can clarify. The city's not going to be on the hook for any finances for this. It's already been through the Met Council and that, and we're not going to have any issues later coming back to us for more funds.
Mayor and Councilmember Fitzhenry, the Met Council has assured us that they have not ever requested funds be repaid on a project, even if it did not come to fruition.
And
so,
can I ask a question, then a follow-up? Is when will we see Cornerstone back here with that proposal? Do we have a kind of a timeline?
We don't have a firm timeline, but I'm anticipating that they will be submitting land use approvals within the next 30 to 60 days for the remainder.
Oh, okay. Well, then we'll ask them for an update. They haven't been in here in a while. Ask them to come in.
They're subject to that 60-day timeline, right?
They haven't submitted land use approvals
not yet.
for the rest of the development, but once they do, then there would be the clock would start ticking on that.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks. All those in favor signify by aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. City Manager, your report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Today I met with the city manager. Pam and I met with the city manager and assistant city manager of the city of Edina, talking about the extension of International Boulevard. And I intend then, tomorrow to write a letter on behalf of the city council to the city manager of Edina, asking that they consider, and I think what I suspect you would like, and what I think is a great idea, even though, I drove it and went out there, and when you get about a block and a half past France Avenue on 76th,
Yeah.
then it kind of breaks down and you've got to drop down, and then you pick up 77th Street again after it goes around a curve and stuff,
Yeah.
But I think what I would suggest is that we ask Edina, because of that tremendous development that's going to go in there,
Yeah.
in that area, if they wouldn't consider, the continuity of as 76th Street there ends about a block and a half past France, if they wouldn't continue that going, to the south and then around to 77th and make that International Boulevard all the way to Highway 100. And, if there was ever going to be a time to ask, now is the time. Because with all the changes that are going to take place, this is the perfect opportunity. And we know on the airport side, it's going to go into the airport and to where 24th Avenue kind of curves up and from the airport and butts up to Highway 494. So that's what I intend to do, and I assume the council is with me on that, and that's
yeah.
what you'd wish. If they're not willing to do that, then I would suggest that we ask at least that they go to that end of 76th Street, that block and a half or so past to the west of France Avenue. But if I just think about it, the idea that International Boulevard would be a destination, and you don't have to worry about where's 76th Street, where's 77th Street. Just like right now, American Boulevard, people know where American Boulevard is. You don't have to worry about whether that's 82nd or 81st or whatever it is. It's American Boulevard.
And it does some jogs.
Yes, and it takes some jogs. And but still, when you get on American Boulevard, you're going to go from point A to point B, and you don't have to worry about anything other than stay on American Boulevard. And that that same continuity could be International Boulevard, and again, all the way through that part from Highway 100 over to the airport. So I just think if I were going to put a new business development in, I would rather have International Boulevard as my address rather than a 77th Street or something
Yeah,
like that.
especially with that beautiful property there, yeah.
Right.
Well, that makes sense.
Well, let's hope they think the same.
Yeah, let's hope.
Can I ask, did you get kind of lukewarm reception, I guess? Or was the discussion productive or?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's ultimately it's up to the Edina City Council as to what they really want to do, but it certainly didn't hurt to sit and talk about it and ask. And it's not like I was told don't even think about it. It's send the letter.
Great.
And let's see what we can do.
All right,
Good.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Councilmember Garcia?
Okay, I will move claims and payroll.
Discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And I will move adjournment of the meeting.
Second. Seeing no further items, we'll call the meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Okay.